Lawrence Grigg and Lydia Robinson have bought an 18th century stone farmhouse in the Cotswolds with the aim of transforming the run-down Grade 2 listed building into their home. They plan to restore the building, currently subject to a whole host of problems including damp and structural movement, and sensitively update the property for modern living.
Hi, we're in Ilmington and this is Mabel's farmhouse and we're going to take a look inside. We're in the corner of the living room at the moment, and this is probably the most dramatic element of the house where, as you can see, we have the building is heaving in this corner, and we think the ground is pushing up slightly. And I think this is most evident by when you look at this area here, and what's happening is the mass of the walls either side are keeping the ground pushed down, but in the middle here where we have much less mass, it's started to lift up the window seats, so we have this nice sort of chaise-longue style slope on the top of it. I think we're most looking forward to in the living room is what's going on behind this very small coal fireplace we have at the moment. Obviously this wouldn't have been original, and we can see when we look at the surveys that we have a huge mass in the middle of the building. So we're hoping that there should be a giant ingle-nook fireplace, which once we have permission, we can open all this up, and hopefully this will be spectacular at the end of the project and a lovely room to be in. If we come through into the kitchen, this will be probably the area that we're actually going to do sort of some more significant interventions to the original fabric and to change how the planning of the building works. What we're hoping to do is to put a nice big range cooker, maybe a Rayburn or an Arga or an Everhot, and we're going to sit that in the middle here. And then behind the other side of this wall, we've actually got a lean-to. What we're hoping to do is put just two doorways either side through here and have a nice big pantry on one side and then a boot room with a toilet, etc. on the other side. And that'll mean we can get a lot of the kitchen-y type functions out of the room and have this much more freestanding with a nice dining room table and next to the fire, and just a freestanding sink and dishwasher, freestanding fridge freezer. So it would just be elements in the room rather than a fitted kitchen. Much more how it would have been, in the 18th century, we didn't have fitted kitchens, so trying to take it back to more how it was before. So here we are in the lean-to, which is just the other side of the kitchen where we spoke about having two openings. So the idea would be we have a sort of nice old structure here that we obviously want to preserve. So what we're thinking of doing is maybe putting some sort of wall, splitting it into two, and have this side here with the toilet and the washing machine, etc. in the boot room essentially that you can move in through the door. And then on this side here will be the pantry space where we'll put the fridge freezer, and we have huge vertical height in here. So it'd be really nice to put some shelving up nice and high and keep all the kitchen bits and pieces up there all tucked out of the way and out of the main space so that we can just enjoy the main space and use it as a real living space in the house. Moving up onto the first floor, obviously you can see when we come up here that we have another stair above which we have a head height issue with. So that's going to be one of the challenges for us, and maybe an element where when we tackle it we'll introduce something a little bit more contemporary into the design. What we have two further rooms upstairs, and they've done a sort of split stair configuration up here, which limits the head height when you're coming up the main stair, but it also makes for slightly precarious stairs as you move up into each of those bedrooms. So what we have to do is try and find out a way of moving up into the bedrooms in a much more safe fashion and give a reasonable amount of head height. This is all probably 1950s stairs, so they're not really, in terms of the listing of the building, of any value. So I think we need to try and be clever here and work out a way that we can do something a little bit different and maybe a little bit more contemporary to highlight that it is a change we've done.